Bienvenidos and welcome. I am so excited for you to join Tech and Tequila. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're listening to this. If you've listened for a while, you know our episodes are short and sweet, and we talk all things about tech so that at the end of your business day or the end of your working day, you are not going to have an adult beverage because your tech is making you go, ah. Your tech is running smoothly. That is our goal here.
Welcome, and bienvenidos. Thank you for joining us on the podcast, Tech and Tequila. If you don't know who I am, I'm Kat Lopez-Shelby, and I'm the founder and CEO of Shelby Technology Solutions. But more importantly, you're here for Tech and Tequila, where we learn a lot about tech, and we may have some nice tequila drinks while we're at it. If you're new here, Tech and Tequila is all about everything technology based for your business. So what that means is we have suppliers on here to talk about how they can help you grow your business. We, have mindset coaches on here talking about how to help you grow your business. We're all about business and basically introducing you to different suppliers and different ways that help you within your business.
Today, I want to talk about something super exciting. This is going to be a short, sweet, and to the point episode because we are so pumped for those of you who are listening and are in Texas because we have a IRL event coming up. And what do I mean by that? I mean an in real life event coming up. For all those who are business owners, who are the person in charge of the tech stack, of the cyber posture. And that is so there is an event coming up on July 16th. It is going to be in Frisco, Texas. You can actually join virtually or you can join in person. And I would love to see as many people in person so that we can talk about it. Because what is it about? It is about protecting your business and covering your assets. And I am so pumped. So just to let you know, this is going to be a great event on July 16th. It is from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time. It is going to be at the Star in Frisco, Texas, which of course, for those who know, is the Dallas Cowboys world headquarters. And what are you going to learn? So you're going to discover the latest cyber threats to your business operations, and you're going to walk away with the most important thing, which is actionable steps to help you plan, to prevent and manage any type of cyber attacks. But not to say it's the most exciting thing, but one of the exciting things is that you're going to hear from keynote speakers like Brian Seeley. If you don't know who Brian Seeley is, take a chance, look it up. He is a world famous cybersecurity expert. He's an ethical hacker, author, and former US Marine. And he became one of the most famous hackers in 2014 because he is the only person to ever wiretap the United States Secret Service and FBI. He's been on the front page of Wired.com, CNN Money, CNET, Forbes, and the Washington Post, all in the same day. So he is passionate about fighting for consumers' rights, privacy, and educating everyone on how to stay cyber safe in a constantly changing technology landscape. So what is this day going to include? Obviously, he's going to be there speaking. Breakfast and lunch is included. There's going to be a panel discussion, Q&As, raffle drawings, a VIP tour of the Star for those who come in person, and a meet and greet with Tony Dorsett, the former Cowboys running back, for anyone who comes. So I hope that everyone will be there, and this is a great opportunity to hear some amazing actionable items to help come up with a plan and just learn more. We will obviously include the link in the description of this podcast so that you can be a part of it. I know in the past I have talked about this, about one of the greatest ways to combat FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt, is number one, to educate yourself. Number two is to put a plan in place. And number three is to check that plan. And by that, I mean, run the scenario, see if it's going to work. And I wanted to kind of further expand on that today because something that we talk about a lot is how you hear, I want to say almost on a daily basis, about another large enterprise company having a breach or having something open. You've got the AT&T, you have T-Mobile, you have CDK Global, and if we want to go back into time, you have Target. And you can do a post-mortem after all of these to see what happened, how did it happen, and how could it have been prevented, you know, and I think having companies this large with a budget the way that they have, if it doesn't show anything, it shows the fact that this is going to happen. So while I do not believe in FUD in the essence of like, let's just fear everything, because that doesn't do anything for us. And that's not what we want. We don't want to fear everything, but we need to know the stats. And the reason that I say that is I talk about this a lot, but someone who is a solo entrepreneur or a small business owner or a medium sized business owner, they have similar cybersecurity needs as your enterprise. And when I say that, people are like, "What?" So let's explain a little bit more. Let's break this down. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not saying that both of these are going to have the exact same solution, because they are not. Your enterprise customer is going to have several different departments. They're going to have their own set of needs. They're going to have their compliance. They're going to have a regulatory requirements. They're going to have all kinds of things. And they're going to have, you would imagine thousands upon thousands of additional endpoints and additional security places where people can get in. But your solo entrepreneur, your small business, your medium sized business, everybody still, needs internet in some form. And whether that internet's in a brick and mortar building that you're providing, or you've got people working out in the wild, is what I like to say, like podcasting in the wild, working in the wild, working remote. So you want to think about it in essence of, how do I protect myself and what does that look like? And you want to come up with a plan of, how do I make that happen? So you want to think about your connectivity. How are you connecting to the internet? How are the people, if you have people working remote, how are they connecting to the internet? And that kind of leads into, you can go several ways with that, because you can think about just how they're utilizing their devices, but it's also, that leads into mobile device management software. That leads into several different solutions. And the second thing to that is, things you want to think about is, how are you protecting your email? How are you keeping phishing emails away? How are you keeping, ransomware and other things out of both your internet, both your email? Like, what are you doing? And so that's why when I say there's similar needs amongst both. So, we have this event coming up. It's a great opportunity, either if you can attend virtually or attend in person. And it's about coming up with actionable items to make a plan, work through the plan, and figure out what you need. You always want to follow, of course, NIST, which is kind of I don't want to say that's the traditional standard, but it is the base standard for what you want to look at, especially when it comes to your cybersecurity posture. All right. So I know I was talking about, enterprise, small, medium, solopreneur. So let's talk about a few statistics that are out there in case you're curious. So when you look at your SMB market, 85% of data breaches strike small and medium-sized businesses. 83% of those small and medium-sized businesses lack the funds to deal with the fallout of a breach. So when you think about fallout, think about, we've talked about it before, but a breach is going to cost you time, could cost you reputation, it's going to cost you money, and you want to think about what that fallout looks like. Are you going to be fined? Do you have violations? Especially, whether you're a CPA, whether you're a small doctor's office, you have different compliance and regulatory requirements, and you can be fined for these things. 43% of small and medium-sized businesses don't believe that they have the resources for cybersecurity preparedness. And that kind of gets into, we talk about people wanting to ostrich themselves and just, put their head in the sand. I think sometimes when people get where they don't know where to start, they just go, oh, well, we don't have the resources. We can't figure it out. We're going to do we're going to do whatever fire comes down and says we have to do. which I do not recommend. I always recommend people being proactive, not reactive. Because when you're proactive, and if we're going to take this to how I like to describe it to my clients, is that we may not be able to go ahead and get that Cadillac version of cybersecurity right now, but let's put in place a Honda, so to speak. Let's put in place what we can right now, and let's make a plan going forward. And on top of that plan, let's make a plan. So, what happens? How do you remediate? What do you do when a breach happens? Like, let's get that plan in place. Another thing is only 50% of businesses that have a cybersecurity plan, and it's even fewer really in the SMB space. 60% of small and medium-sized businesses hit by a cyber attack will shut down within 6 months. And the average cost per cyber incident for a small and medium-sized business is $120,000. And I know that we have talked about this in the past, but one of the things you want to think about is a lot of times people who have ill intent, so say hackers, say somebody, they will sit in your network and sit in your technology, so to speak, for up to a year, waiting for something to happen, waiting for that big event to happen. So whether that's a launch, whether that's a particular season, whether they're like, oh, this person is a third party working with this, let's try to get in. And I think that we've seen that in the past. We've seen that, like I said, back in the day with Target, and we've seen it with one of the most recent breaches. I forgot exactly which casino it is off the top of my head, but how did they get in? And people got in through the fish tank. So you want to think about all of this and come to put a plan in place. And I know I've said it, I think this is like the third or fourth time, but this event coming up is going to be a great way to educate yourself and give you actionable items to make a plan. So today's episode is short and sweet. I just wanted to cover some stats, cover some information, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys in person. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Tech and Tequila. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. To stay updated about all things tech and more, don't forget to visit us at our website, shelbyts.com. If you loved what you heard, remember to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast. Your 5-star ratings and reviews mean the world to us and help us to reach more listeners just like you. So muchas gracias again for joining us with Tech and Tequila. Thank you so much. You learned a lot about tech, and maybe you had a nice drink of tequila.